good, what is it, Wednesday morning. Man, I tell you, the New York Mets have the best team in baseball. It is early. I know so many Yankee fans keep saying, oh, this is the Mets World Series in April, and then you fall apart. But this is different, man. They're doing stuff they never did before in the history of the organization, like winning their first 6 series of the season. And I'm actually enjoying early Mets baseball after I was so down on baseball heading into the season and the lockout and everything else. You actually look forward to these games and how they're going to win them. And there's an expectation that they're going to continue to do this. But every time they take the field, you feel like they're going to win. And all this crap that's going on with them getting hit, as long as they stay healthy and no one gets seriously hurt, I think that galvanizes them as well. The Yankees continue to roll against a soft underbelly of their schedule, which is what they're supposed to do, and good thing that they're doing it. Rizzo, you can sit on my face with 3 home runs last night. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
I've been a little bit better. Another wake-up call for the New York Rangers last night as they lose to the Hurricanes in their third goalie, who came in here and not only beat the Rangers, but beat the Devils and the Islanders. So a little disappointing this morning, but it wasn't really going to change much because, they're either going to end up playing Pittsburgh or Washington starting next week when the NHL playoffs start. So it was a disappointing, but yet another wake-up call by a very good team as the Boston Bruins did the same thing to them over the weekend. And everybody will realize that in hockey, much like basketball, as we are seeing, and by the way, did you see Ja Morant last night?
Yes.
Holy
of course.
Man,
yeah.
Jesus. That kid exploded on the scene again last night. But anyway, just like basketball, and we saw with the Nets, the ice gets smaller, the power plays aren't as robust. And, the Rangers will have to, figure it out. I think we can win one series, but, man, if we play like we played the last 2 games, we get to that second series against one of these other top teams, it's going to be really difficult to move on from there. But they're giving me a great season, so I don't want to complain too much about that. As far as the Mets are concerned, I don't know, 14-5, best record in baseball. Did we expect to say that?
Absolutely
I think we expected to say that had Jacob deGrom not been shut down.
Well, I don't know about the best record in baseball and winning every series to start the year. I don't think even the most optimistic Mets fan would think that they'd be making history. But a 14-5 start is not expected. It's just not. So this has blown everybody away. And at this point, there's been teams that I've seen throughout the years, watching baseball, whether it be the Yankees and their dynasty, or when the Braves were winning all those divisions in the early 90s and the mid-90s. And when you'd play them, and the Dodgers in recent memory, you'd play them, and it was just like, they're going to win 2 out of 3. That's just what they do. They come in, they take the series, and they leave. Or you go there, they take the series, and you leave.
Or you get swept.
Yes. And there's this expectation every time that they go out there that they're better than you. And through these first 19 games of the season for the Mets, I get that feeling. Now, it continuing through the next 10,000 games that there are in a regular season of a baseball season, I understand is difficult. But so far, with this Cardinal series, as good of a team as they are with high expectations, it was like you expected the Mets to go in there and take the series, and they did. And their pitching has just been phenomenal. And Chris Bassett, I love. I know he had one bad start, but I love this guy. I know everybody's going to love Scherzer, and rightfully so, but this guy is as much of a bulldog as anybody. And he's out there, and he's speaking the truth in the post-game stuff, and he's grinding. He's another one of these guys that I know goes out there and desperately wants to win. And he's just, no matter what the start is, he's out there, and he's grinding, and he's everything seems to be just full force, go Chris Bassett like it's a postseason start. So, I've loved it. And Carlos Carrasco's been phenomenal, too. Everybody's been phenomenal. It's just, it's nuts, man. It's crazy, and I believe it's sustainable because of the things that we have talked about before. The depth of the team, the manager, and the fact that, they are right now, is probably as complete from top to bottom as they've been since the year they went to the World Series.
And they're doing it without 2 of their starting pitchers, and that's Jacob deGrom and Taijuan Walker. Maybe Taijuan Walker will come back this weekend. Who knows? Against the Phillies. But, it's good. Man, look, I'm not going to argue with it. I'm just going to sit here and say I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to actually have a hockey team going into the playoffs, have a baseball team start the way they started. And, speaking of baseball teams, Aaron Judge had his 30th birthday yesterday.
He did. That's right. Yep.
And
happy birthday, Aaron Judge.
That's right. And your boy Rizzo hit 3 home runs.
That's right.
They were, oh, by the way, home runs, short porch home runs, which is fine. This is why you want him in your lineup.
Yeah, whatever.
And
Yeah.
plus, he leads the league in home runs.
Yep.
I mean, so here's a guy that the Yankees waited to sign.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily know how. I think people expected him to come back. It just
There
took
was
a
talk
while.
about other guys, too. There was talk about Freddie Freeman. There was talk about Matt Olson. There was talk about upgrading the position, and they weren't in on those two guys very seriously. And then Rizzo ended up coming back, and he's gotten off to a massive start.
So here's the thing. He's got a 2-year deal, and it's a team. I would say it's a team-friendly deal, even though he's making quite a bit of money. I think he's making, $16 million a year, whatever it is, which seems right for him. At this point, do we say that Brian Cashman did the right thing here?
Yeah, I mean, early returns are great. Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, where this team finishes is really going to be the ultimate Brian Cashman referendum, because he's been here so long that bringing back Anthony Rizzo isn't going to be the thing that makes or breaks his resume.
The point being is, as people were going over the roster, going over things, and look, we got on Isaiah Kiner-Falefa early on. After first 10 games, he was a hole in the lineup. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, turned it around a little bit, became more offensive, seemed to be more comfortable at shortstop as well. All I'm saying is that with all the criticism that was thrown at Brian Cashman for the entire offseason for not getting Correa, and then seeing the deal that Correa ends up signing, why couldn't we give him that deal? And then I guess you'd have to say he settled on Rizzo. And settling on Rizzo and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, I would say at this point, have more than held up their end of the bargain.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with the Yankees is, though, if they get off to a good start against these teams, the credit isn't going to be there as much because, all right, wow, you beat up on the Orioles, fine. That's what people think. And then also, it's really about the Yankees. It's progressing in the postseason for them. So, it's hard to say right now, well, Brian Cashman did the right thing with Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Anthony Rizzo. It's hard to say that right now, even though both of them in the recent week or two have been very, very good. It's really about where they go. But listen, they needed to, because you put together the Boomer stretch. They needed to feast on these teams, and they got off to a bad start. They were 3-3 against the Orioles and the Tigers to start that stretch, but now they just keep winning and they keep bashing, and that's exactly what they need to do.
So, and the reason I say that is because other teams in their division, most notably Toronto, is going to be feasting on these teams. Mm-hmm. You just know they are. And this is where you win or lose your division. This is where you actually make it to the playoffs, so you don't. And the Orioles are a better team than they were last year. They struggled against the Orioles, and that was the difference. That was truly at the end of the season when you looked at it. All you had to do is look at who played the Orioles and what were their records against the Orioles, and there was your difference.
Yep.
And the Yankees, like you said, sleeping through those first 6 games against the Tigers and the Orioles, losing 2 out of 3 of the Orioles, makes you wonder about what's going on. But now all of a sudden they're starting to straighten it out and taking 3 out of 3 from the Guardians, and then putting up the numbers they did yesterday. And actually, by the way, I was watching Severino pitch.
Oh, I mean,
and he pitched good until he gave up that little home run.
Well, yeah, and it was
a little home run, but he was pitching really good up to that point.
Well, he had a no-hitter. He took into the 6th inning. So, it was funny. I tell you, Sweeney Murdy really has a beat on this team because he mentioned after the first inning, I believe. Because remember last year he called the Corey Kluber no-hitter. You remember that?
Yes.
If you don't, so he actually called it after the first inning, and he did it again last night. He goes, I don't have the same conviction as I did with Corey Kluber, but after 1 inning, the way he is dealing with this Orioles lineup, it's something to keep an eye on. And he ended up, having 5 perfect innings or 4 perfect innings maybe, and then ended up taking a no-hitter into the 6th. So he was absolutely spectacular.
It's amazing they gave up 8 runs, though.
No, I know. And then all of a sudden, it just ended up being a free-for-all.
Turned into a softball game.
It did. It did end up turning into that. And another big issue is this baseball situation, and I'm sure Jerry's going to have what Chris Bassett said after the game, is he basically went after Major League Baseball and saying that there's no consistency to these baseballs, and it's really frustrating. And they're bad. They're flat out bad. and he was very, very critical of Major League Baseball. So, I mean, when you see guys continually getting hit and then hit in the head, and especially we've seen that with the Mets. I mean, Pete Alonso probably thinks he's in a Final Destination movie. I mean, think about this. Like, it's like something's trying to, go out and get him. The car accident, getting hit in the head twice. I mean, for crying out loud, what an unbelievable March and April for Pete Alonso.
I'll tell you one thing, the helmets work.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely. And he got right up and everything else. And, obviously, when Marte gets hit as the ball goes inside with the bases loaded, you know that it's not an intentional situation because you don't want to, in a 2-0 game, have the Mets tack on. But it's frustrating as hell.
What do you think hurts more, baseball at 90 miles an hour to a head or a hockey puck 105 miles an hour right to the mask?
Oh, man. That's you said 105 or 90. So
Mika hit the goalie for the Hurricanes last night square right in the forehead.
Yeah.
I mean, and he just let it rip.
Right.
And that guy just I don't even think he saw it. It just hit him right in the forehead and boom. Next thing you know, he's like got to collect his thoughts and he gets himself back into position. But I was just thinking both of those things happened last night.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be in a position where either one of those things happen. But the Mets have been in too many of those positions. So, I mean, I don't know. It's so weird what goes on with the baseball and Major League Baseball controlling it. And, some years it flies more and some years it's more dense and it's not as flies more. And then now you're not allowed to use sticky stuff and now all this and that and whatever else. And our baseballs, listening to Alan Jerry, the warm show, they're really still made out of cowhide? Baseballs are still made out of cowhide.
Well, what do you think they're going to be made out of?
I don't know. I just was surprising to me. We have people that are gluing themselves to NBA courts and are also, what they do? That one woman locked herself to the basket over those chickens out in Minnesota with Glenn Taylor.
Take care of your chickens.
Where are the PETA people with the cowhide baseballs?
Oh, well, why are you trying to,
Peter King? I'm looking for consistency from the PETA people.
Number one, I'm a little disappointed in you.
Are they really made out of cowhide?
I am a little disappointed in you.
Why?
I did a Sports Minute on this yesterday.
Cowhide baseballs?
Baseballs and the difference between the baseballs.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you weren't paying attention, were you?
Yeah, I can't listen
you
to
have a
everyone.
selective attention. I guess when I'm not here, you try to.
Sometimes I go to the bathroom. Sometimes I get up. I get a cup of coffee. I can't sit there and listen to every single one of them.
I know, but I'm all over it. And you were right. Thank you for sending me a text yesterday as to one of my sportsmen today.
Oh yeah.
I appreciated that.
Oh, of course. I once I saw that news, I said 100%.
Right. We won't talk about that. Nobody really cares until the Sportsman comes.
It'll be I knew a Sportsman topic right off the bat.
Yes.
But this is great. So you were ahead of the game again with the changing of the baseballs, and then here you go with Chris Bassett last night.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised. I mean, more and more players. The reason I knew about it is because I had read about it and players complaining about it. And our Mets are getting hit left and right. I mean, it's getting a little bit ridiculous. But then you got to give our pitchers a little bit of credit too. They came back and hit them.
Yeah.
I mean, in the unwritten rule of baseball category.
That's right.
You hit our guys, we're hitting your guys.
Well, the Adam Ottavino hit by pitch was a slider that nipped the guy in the toe, which is not exactly something that you would think would be intentional. Cowhide or horsehide? It blows my mind.
Why don't you just go to PETA and just go have a discussion with them and figure out how you can get something going here?
I just never thought about that.
What would you expect it to be made of?
I don't know. I didn't have an expectation.
Silicone or something? I mean, come on.
Did you guys have that expectation that it was cow? Really?
What do you think a football's made of?
I don't know. It's not really pigskin, is it? It is really pigskin? Come on. That's pig's skin that is out there.
I mean,
come on.
You could be screaming about a lot of things.
I'm not going to be screaming about it. I just found it interesting that all of a sudden the PETA people were running all over the court down there.
Actually,
in
I'm
the
not
NBA.
so sure that these are PETA people. I think these are from a different group. These are a little bit
Peter
more,
King.
These are a little bit more activists. What's the word I'm saying?
Crazy, is that the word you're looking for? Is that the one?
I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I was just surprised. I don't know. That's just
somebody super glued themselves to Starbucks the other day.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, because of soy milk. I don't know what it was.
What?
And by the way, what's amazing to me? That Starbucks downstairs
they
that we
cleared
have
it
used
out
for years. I mean, that thing is totally cleared out.
In a day. Yeah.
When did they do that? Over the weekend?
Over the weekend, yeah.
No, it wasn't even over the weekend. The last couple days when I left here, because I park out front, there have been huge trucks up the whole street just loading all their equipment in there.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. They left the sign up.
That'll come down any day now.
I mean, why do you think they left there?
I don't know. This has really been bothering you.
I mean, that place has been packed, and I'm just wondering why. Did somebody try to raise? I mean, did Trinity try to raise their real estate?
I don't know. I know they get no business like on the weekend down here because this is just a business district.
Or in the evening. It's a weird little micro area or little
Micro area
because it's
a little microburst.
It's so dead.
Yeah, but there's
during
more.
non-business hours.
How many buildings have they built just within the 6-block radius of where we sit that are not commercial buildings, that are residential buildings? It's got to be like 10.
Yeah, you would think that a Starbucks being around all these new buildings would be a nice little perk for people, but no. They got right out of here. Packed it up and got the F out.
I think it's got to be something.
What? Musk?
You think they raised their rent? No, I don't think it's Elon Musk.
Maybe they
No.
packed up because of Elon Musk
No.
buying Twitter. They were like, enough of this. Maybe there was a connection there.
You laughed at me.
Yeah. Maybe it was Elizabeth Warren. They heard what she said. They were like, you know what? We got to get out of here.
God bless.
No, I don't know. Everything's politically driven. I'm not
It
sure.
seems like you think they shut Starbucks because of some politics?
Yeah, I think they might have. Yeah, I think that's why. Everything.
Somehow it's Kamala Harris's fault.
Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network. That'll be a Sportsman a little bit later, too.
Why'd they shut Starbucks?
Yeah. You were looking at like the closest one. You were going to send Allie basically on it.
Allie is the happiest person. She's out of here in about 5 minutes.
Well, yeah, she'll be the happiest person until Boomer gets a city bike for her, and she's got to go 6 miles to get a
Never.
cinnamon latte.
Never. You know that.
She's hopping on a horse to gallop to the nearest latte.